Welcome back, you guys, to yet another episode of The Spotlight. And we have a familiar face in the studio with us, a producer who has been doing a show for a while now. And we want to welcome her back to the studio today and for her future programs. So help me welcome Miss Cynthia Thompson.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you, Dawn.
Yes, we've been having a good conversation before, before you came back into the studio. And now, here you are. So what you been up to?
Really, just nothing much. Believe it or not, I retired early. I know I don't look like I'm old enough to retire, but yes, I did.
Okay.
So I've been at home.
Okay.
You know, COVID came and that slowed down a lot of stuff for a lot of people, but I'm ready to get back into the studio to educate my viewers on different things going on in Charlotte and give them more information so they can see some new shows.
Absolutely. Well, you know, catching the viewers up on your show was called A Better You. And you started it when?
Oh, about 10 years ago.
Okay.
I'm not sure the exact date.
Well, 10 years, that's a good ballpark, guesstimate, and that's been a while.
A long time.
And a lot has changed.
A lot has changed.
Yeah. So tell me, what made you or what led you to start a show, in this particular show?
Thanks for asking that, because a lot of people ask me that come to be my guests. I'm so glad I'm having a chance to share it with everyone here. I was a member of Toastmasters, and I was the VP of Education. And so I mentioned to the board that I was on that we should record our show, our speeches. And so one of the young ladies in there said, well, public access would teach you how to use your equipment and yada, yada, yada. I said, okay, I'll go and check it out.
Right.
So I came for the orientation. I was like, oh, I did not know this was here. So I took all the training, and it was quite a bit, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because you get to meet so many different people.
Right.
And after the training, I said, well, I'll just have my own show here.
Right. That's good, because when you came on board, you started bringing good guests and good topics. And I remember seeing topics that covered health, whether it was physical or mental, and the exercising, and some, a variety of things. So what was your most memorable?
Oh my goodness, that's like asking who's your favorite child.
Who's your favorite child? Right.
I think the most memorable one was going to the fire station.
Okay.
An actual fire station and getting a tour of it. Seeing how the firefighters live at the fire station.
Right.
All the different equipment they have and everything, and hearing the stories from the different firefighters. It was really a lot of fun, and learning new things about the services our firefighters offer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed or not, but we have 2 fire stations that do water rescue here in the city of Charlotte.
That's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah, they do a lot.
A lot. And I was like, what kind of water rescue do you do?
Right.
And so the chief had to remind me, we have floods here in Charlotte sometimes. It's like, oh, yeah. Right. And that's when the firefighters use their water equipment to go and help people that are victims of flooding.
You know what? I am recalling when I lived in Nashville, Tennessee, and there was a flood, major flood. And everywhere we were trying to go, I would say myself, I was trying to get back home after being at a conference while it was pouring down rain. And every intersection that I knew to try to get me to where I needed to go was blocked. And I recall that our firefighters and some of course, our EMTs, our emergency medical teams, they came and do what they do best.
Right.
And I'm just remembering that because I'll never forget that. That was May of 2010 in Nashville, and I would never have thought that Nashville, it's landlocked. It's not even near any water. Here in North Carolina, we at least have a shore, and we have different beaches, beachfronts, but when it rains, wherever you are, if it rains a lot, it's gonna flood. So
Right.
that is so good to remember or to even learn about the fire stations here in Charlotte. So that's awesome.
And I got to sit in the fire truck too.
Oh, see? Now, and you won an award for that, right?
I won an award for that show.
See, that is awesome.
Yes.
So people needed to hear that information. And then, of course, whenever you get an award for it, it's like, okay, let's do some more.
Right.
So what you gonna do?
I don't know. You know, the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I just meet people and we start talking, and I was like, you know, you should come on my show.
There you go. There you go.
That kind of is how it happens
That's
too,
how
a
it
lot of
happens.
times.
Well, you know what? You meet people that you are supposed to meet, I think, and you can learn from them right there.
Right.
And then when you have a platform like this, you can, like you said, come on my show. Yeah. So now, Miss Cynthia, that was before COVID,
Yes.
okay? And we know everybody had to pivot during
Oh, yeah.
COVID, sit still. Tell me about your experience during that time.
I missed not coming to the studio then, but I understand why we could not come.
Right.
Even though you were still open and you would let people come, I wasn't quite ready to be around a lot of people.
Understood.
You know,
Understood.
because COVID was this mystery virus that
Right.
we really didn't know what was going on with it. So I stayed at home, and since I had so many shows that I had produced,
Right.
I didn't have to come in.
Right.
I was able to show my shows that I had recorded earlier. So I had a lot of repeats, and my mom and her friends would ask me, when you going to make some new shows?
Like, I've seen that already. Is that what they said?
Pretty much. I said, they're coming. Keep
Right.
watching.
Right. Well, that's good. They let you know they are
Oh,
your
yeah.
fans.
So
they've seen the shows, and they were like, come on, let's bring some more new shows.
And even though it comes on Wednesdays at 6 p.m., when most people are watching the news, people flip over and watch my show, believe it or not.
Well, I believe it, because
do.
what happens is a lot of times people get really kind of weary of hearing a lot of bad news.
Yeah.
You know, and there is news out there that you can use, but a lot of times it's a display of some of the real traumatic things that are happening in our community. So I do believe that they flip over to look at you. Yeah. So congratulations.
Thank you. I do have a fan base
Absolutely.
out there.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. Okay, so you were recording or showing programs that you'd already recorded. What kind of feedback were you getting, even during the COVID time, the hiatus?
People would email me and they would call me and they would ask me, how can I get in touch with that lawyer that was on your show?
Wow, okay.
That wrote about the books about what happens next.
Okay.
And people would call me and say, can you send me the recipe for that cooking show you had on?
Wow.
You might want to watch the show again.
Exactly.
I don't have the recipe.
Well, that's a good like pointer to them, you know?
Right.
And you probably were on video on demand, which is where people can pull you up and see what you're saying, what you have said before. Do you have YouTube as well?
Yes, I have a YouTube channel. It's called
Okay.
A Better You Show.
Okay. Well, see, there you go. So you point them in that direction.
Right.
Okay. And what else? What else did they say
They were
about
just
with feedback?
Glad that I was still on the air, even though it was repeats. And oh my goodness, they were like, "Oh, Cynthia, you had braids back then.
Oh,
you had
that's
this
so
hairstyle then."
Yeah. Look at you. And do they recognize you out in the community?
Yes. Oh my gosh, when I first started my show and someone said, "I saw you on TV," I was like, "Oh my God, I'm famous."
Well, you handle it well. You handle it well, because when they call you, it's like, or when they see you in the community and they say that to you, then you probably say, well, hey, you can come on my show.
You
If
got
they
a
have
story to
something to
tell.
talk about. Right.
But it's a good feeling when people recognize you too.
I bet so.
Oh yeah.
You know you're doing something that's really impactful. Yeah. So what else? What else in the community do you feel like, you know, a better you can highlight?
You know, I want to do more with mental health. I think that's a big thing right now.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's important because a lot of people, especially in the Black community, they don't believe mental health is good for them or
Yeah.
helpful. And that's sad because It's nothing wrong with going to see someone just to
Right.
talk it out.
Right.
Sometimes you need to go to someone that does not even know you and share your problem with them so that can help you get some solutions to that problem.
Right.
I want to do more shows with our young people.
Yeah.
Yes, I love having the shows with the young people.
Yes.
Just having a panel discussion about different things.
That's right.
And, you know, when you look at them and you say, oh man, I was 12 once upon a time and I thought I knew everything.
Exactly. You know, that's a very good point. We have to go back, don't we? And put ourselves in their shoes and then think about what's happening now.
Right.
And you did mention something once before about how there's so much coming at them.
Oh, yes. Social media,
Yeah.
bullies in school, and just, I feel sorry for our young people today because I think about when I was their age.
Yeah.
Yes, we had bullies, but we didn't have social media so much.
Right, to post it.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
And to have that coming at you nonstop,
Yeah.
I can only imagine mentally how they're handling that.
Yeah. And you know what, Cynthia? They have been through the regular things we talked about with the bullying,
Right.
the regular issues that come up with just growing up.
Right,
They had to deal with COVID.
right.
They having to deal with coming out of COVID and the issues that everybody is experiencing because of it. A lot of it gets dumped on them. And then to deal with social media, like you said, all of that is just, it gets kind of crazy just talking about all of that.
And the school shootings.
Oh, yes.
Can you imagine
that part?
dropping your child off at school and wondering if they're going to come home?
No.
It's a lot on our kids today.
This is so true.
And they need an outlet or
Yeah.
a place where they could just talk
Yes.
about different topics.
A safe place.
Uh-huh.
And we have those around the city, in our country, you know, those little signs that say this is a safe place. So basically you're saying that's what you are wanting to
Right.
do as well.
Right.
Create that space. Wow. Well, I am remembering one youth in particular who you had on, and she was cooking.
Oh, Victoria.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Talk about that show and how all that came about.
Oh my gosh, it just kind of just happened. Her mother was on my show with a band singing. And we got to talking and she said, my daughter likes to cook. And I said, your daughter should have a show here.
Yes.
And I'll help you. So I invited her daughter to come on and cook so she could see what it would be like
Right.
to cook on TV.
Right.
And we had so much fun and I even tried to help.
No, you did help. I was here that night.
I am nobody's cook.
But you did. You got involved.
I got involved.
Yes.
And got to talk to her, and she shared her love for cooking, and the food was really good.
Yes, it was.
And I made
it.
sure the staff and my crew had some of that food, and it was really good.
Yes, ma'am. She did a great job.
And she had her own show for a little while. I think she
Yeah.
moved to California.
Oh,
so her
is that
show
where
is not
they are?
here anymore.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask about that. You know, what's going on with them? So do you know what they're doing out there?
I know, well, I was close with her mother.
Yeah.
And so we talked and stuff, and her son was moving to California.
Okay.
And she wanted to go too, so they moved to
Wow.
California. Hopefully she has a show there.
I'm telling you because, well, you know, when everyone thinks of California, I'm sure they think about, of course, the warmth and Hollywood. And
Yes.
here we are on this platform talking about shows. So hopefully she did get.
Hopefully she's going to keep it going.
Absolutely.
Because she was really good on her show.
Yes, she was. She did a great job. I saw her out in the community and doing, you know, even more things as she grew up.
Wow.
Yeah. So she got her start here, right? Yeah. And so how about some of your other guests? Have you kept in touch with them?
I'm embarrassed to say, but I haven't. But, you know, everybody's busy.
Sure.
And hopefully I can keep up with the next bunch of my guests that are coming.
Absolutely.
Now that I have a lot more free time.
Right. Now that you have a lot more free time. So on that note, what are some specific plans? It could be just life plans. We know you're going to come back in the studio. You're getting ready to tape soon. And so, but what about life issues now that you have free time?
You know, I want to write a book.
Okay.
So this is an exclusive. Maybe
Hello.
you can have me back on the show to talk about it.
Hey, definitely, definitely. Get it together.
In fact,
Get
I
it
want to
pulled
write
together.
2 books.
Really? What
Yes.
about?
So the first book I want to write about is it's about Black women that are professionals, but they're single. And why is that?
Yeah, why is that?
So don't steal my idea out there watching.
No, that's a good topic.
So what I want to do is do some research on how Black women were put together with their mates in Africa before they came to America,
Right.
and go through the decades to see why dating and marriage has changed for African American women.
Right.
Because I was at a luncheon and there were about 20 of us there, women. Only 3 of them were married.
Wow.
I'm like, what is wrong with this?
Right.
There was an engineer there, a nurse there, me in HR, people working with the local government. And I'm like, why are these women single?
Right.
Something is wrong here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you took it back to Africa. And, you know, in a lot of cultures, there were arranged marriages.
Right.
And the traditional ways that things were set up,
Right.
you know,
Were lost when we came here.
they were lost when we came here. And not just lost. There were intentional things done in the African American
Right.
community that split our families apart.
Right.
And so that has a lot to do with it.
I think it does too. And
Yeah.
I think too that not just Black women, but women, period, we're so independent now.
That's true.
And a lot of women may feel like, well, I don't need a husband.
Okay.
But then having a husband is having a companion too.
Right.
Even
The
if you want to be
family.
single.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there
family.
something has happened to our race where the women are single, and I'm going to try to figure out why.
You do that, and and also, you know, that balance, because your show is what, 30
minutes.
right? That may need to be part 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so
Yeah, you're right.
you know, and so maybe each show or each part can tackle a different issue. Because one thing I'm thinking about is how a lot of African American women have become international. They don't just
Right.
stay in America and think about having mates. So
And maybe have a mental health professional come on and talk about that too.
yes,
And that's how my shows start.
right,
You
right,
know, I come up with an idea and it just springboards to more topics.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to hearing that because it sounds like, you know, you do a lot of real pondering and real processing no matter where you are. That's what I hear from you. You can be out in the community and then you're talking to someone and you realize, hey, this is a good show topic. Or you're at a conference or some event and you start thinking about what's really going on other than what is intended to be presented. What
Right.
else is going on?
Right.
So I'm looking forward to the things that you do. Yeah,
It's more to come.
absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the actual process of doing your show. What are some of the steps that you have to go through?
It's a lot of work.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
So the first thing, of course, you come up with the idea. And you find a guest. Then you have to do research on the topic. Let's say I'm going to have a person on there talking about plant-based diets.
Yes.
I have to go through and look to see, is this food good? Is that plant good?
Right.
What goes together to make a plant-based diet work? Why we should go to a plant-based diet? What does meat do to our bodies? So
Right.
you have to do research too.
Yeah.
Then after you do that and maybe possibly have a guest, maybe a nurse practitioner or a doctor to come on to talk more about it.
Right.
Then you have to create your questions for that person after you set everything up.
Right.
Then you have to get your crew.
Right.
Then you have to plan the green room, which is very important.
Right.
You producers out there listening, you want to take care of your crew when they come.
Okay, yeah, so unpack the green room now. What is the green room?
Oh, the green room is where your crew can sit and relax, and your guests can relax, and they can eat something or get something to drink if they want to.
Right.
And that's important
Yes, it
because
is.
a lot of times I do my show tape it at night. People coming up from work, and they probably haven't had a chance to get a bite to eat.
Exactly.
So I make sure I try to take care of them.
There you go. And you know, it's interesting. There's this theme here. We were talking about, of course, the process of doing a show, but also with what you eat. You did a show on cooking, and then here you are talking about what you eat.
Food again, huh?
Food again. That's right.
I'm not hungry. Food again.
But it's very timely because some of our crew and some of the folks in the studio who are going to produce a show like yourself are going to be talking about the healthiness that we need, especially in a community where we have traditionally eaten a lot of things that were just thrown at us. That were just given, and just historically, what we have eaten and made to have eaten that was not good for us.
Right. And
so the education needs to be out there. And so you're talking about it. We have folks who are going to be talking about it during their shows. And I myself was just giving you some recipes or telling you about some jerk fruit that I've had. And so, you got to try that. Let's put that on the show.
Didn't I say I wasn't much of a cook?
Well, then you also said you were going to invite some people on, so...
Yeah, they can come and cook it.
Come and cook it. Yes, but you also shared... It's so fun. But you also shared that how you yourself were going to start eating plant-based. Talk a little bit about that.
My doctor suggested it, but it's rough. It's hard because... Like I said before, I'm not much of a cook, so I used to eat just fast food. And so, gosh, I can't go to the drive-thru and they might sell salads, they might not.
Right.
The dressing has a lot of stuff in it that I don't need. Right. Sugar, salt, chemicals.
Right.
So it's really hard, and you really have to plan. But I'm not totally plant-based yet.
Okay,
I'm getting there.
Listen, no judgment, because again, what we have been trained to eat over the years, what was put in front of you, from people who didn't know, and that affects our bodies and affects our education. All of this is connected. The mental health, the physical health, how we feel, and what energy we have going forward. So. I think it's good that you're going through this. Your doctor talked to you, and you're learning. I know.
It's easier said than done.
I know. Trust. I believe that. I believe it. But you're going to do it. You'll be okay.
I'm going to get there.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the fact that you need to apply this in order to have strength to come back and do your show? What have you been thinking about it?
So. I'm sorry, what was the question?
When we're talking about the fact that we have to stay healthy and have to have the strength to just live, but now you also are coming back to do your show. Have you processed the fact that those two things are related?
Yes. I'm glad you asked that question because I just texted my director. I said, what do you want me to bring when we're in the studio? He said, whatever you want. I said, you want a veggie tray and a fruit tray and water?
Right.
He was like, maybe you could bring some snacks too.
So what you're saying is he's not quite on board either.
He's not quite there yet.
Okay. So everybody, we can see this is a process behind the scenes.
Yes.
And once you get on the show to talk about, what we can eat better. Okay. All right. Well, listen, this is good to kind of like really unpack this and really put it out there as to what we need to talk about, right?
Right.
And so I'm looking forward to it.
I'm so glad you brought me here because I've thought of some more shows that I could have for my show coming up. Since we've been sitting here.
Okay, well, what's come to your mind? You got that mind. Those wheels are turning. What else is coming to mind?
Having someone to cook some plant-based snacks. I don't know what's out there, but I'm sure when people eat them, they know what to get.
Right.
Or how to prepare some plant-based snacks that are good for you.
Yes.
Instead of eating buttery popcorn, if you want to watch a movie.
Right.
What's something else you could eat?
That's good. That's good. And when you go to the movie theater, they have, I think it's chemical butter. I don't even know.
Really?
It's oil, like some butter substitute.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So you have some good topics. What else?
What else?
Yeah, you've been sitting here. You said, I've been thinking about some things, and That's one plant-based. And we talked about having your firefighters maybe come back. What else?
I want to, this is going to be a fun show. My niece went to see Beyonce.
Oh, okay.
So I want her on my show to talk about her experience.
Okay.
And why she's so in love with Beyonce.
Okay.
And talk about the other things that she does besides being an artist.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't know that she gives back to the community too.
Okay. How old is she?
All the other things.
How did you? Well, what age range is she?
My niece
a teenager?
is 21.
Okay, so she's young adult.
Yes.
Just hitting that. Okay.
So and just get their viewpoint on why they like her so much. You know what I mean?
Right.
Did you just go to the concert to see her, or do you know the person Beyonce too?
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
That's real good because she is, her own person.
Right.
Right. That talent and the things that she talks about doing on stage, that's one thing.
Right.
But to know her.
Right.
So that'll be a good topic.
And to know that she is not only a singer, but she's a businesswoman too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
A mom.
And get their thoughts on what's that's like to brand yourself so that you can be successful.
That's good. That's going to be a really good topic. And so you said she's an artist? Your niece?
No, she's just a fan.
You're talking about
Beyonce
being the artist. Okay, I got you. I thought, and then you also talked about how Beyonce gives back to the community.
Right.
Okay.
And my niece may not even be aware of that.
Yeah, and that's going to be good to kind of ask her those things so she can start thinking about what she could do. Yeah. So I'm excited for you.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to be back. I can't wait.
Well, you should be.
Even though I'm a bottle of nerves, coming back.
But why are you a bottle of nerves? You've been doing this a while.
I guess because it's been so long since I've been in here.
I see.
But I'm so glad you have me here on the Spotlight show to kind of get my wheels turning, get some of the nerves out.
Right.
So I can knock out 3 or 4 shows in a night.
Right, get used to the lights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and knocking out 3 or 4 shows a night is a process, right?
It is a process.
It's
and
a
you
job.
have to be on it too. You have to have a good team working with you.
Well, you are on it. You are on it. I've seen you and your director work together before, and I have faith in you.
We can do it.
Yes, ma'am. So why don't you tell everyone when they can expect to see your show?
My show airs every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. here on Public Access 21. And you're going to be seeing a lot of new shows. We're getting back into the studio.
All right. Well, listen, I thank you for coming.
It's over?
It's over for now.
Come on, Dawn.
And again, like you said, when you write those books and when you talk about those different topics that you want to put in writing, I'll have you back.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I'll be
thank
back.
you.
Thank you for calling me and asking me to come on. I've had so much fun.
Absolutely. You are an awesome joy to have. And you guys, we thank you for also coming. We expect that you would join us again on the Spotlight, so we'll see you then.